Tom here, and we're going to talk about kettlebell swings. There are lots of different ways to do kettlebell swings, and I'm going to show you one of my favorites. And the reason that it's my favorite is because it's really good for working hip extension. And hip extension is something that we're trying to get you to do in most of the exercises that we're working on, getting into a nice upright posture, squeezing through the glutes. So when we do the kettlebell swing, the way that I like to have you guys do it most of the time is a big focus on hip extension, squeezing through the glutes. So when we're doing the kettlebell swing, this is sort of like the classic or conventional kettlebell swing. The whole point is to get force development through your hips in a backwards, forwards motion. Not up and down, backwards and forwards. So if you hear me yelling at you, I'll say backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. This is what I'm talking about. Without the kettlebell, it's going to look like this. You start standing straight up, hinge at your waist, keeping your back straight, squeezing your butt to stand straight up again. Hips back, hips forward. Hips back, hips forward. Hips back, hips forward. And that's what we're doing in the kettlebell swing. Hips back, hips forward. Every time you come forward, you're squeezing in your butt, in your glute max, to push your hips forward into hip extension. We're stopping when we're vertical. Like all our exercises, or almost all our exercises, especially with the hip hinging thing, we're trying to keep our spine neutral. So when you come down, it's with a neutral spine. When you come up to the top, it's with a neutral spine. So when you're hinging this way, neutral spine. When you come back up, neutral spine. What we're trying to avoid is getting into this position. So you can think of this as being like in a plank, or this is your core brace position. You come up here, glutes are engaged, abdominals are engaged. Abdominals engaged is going to prevent you from slipping into extension. With the kettlebell, it looks the same. Hips back, hips forward. Hips back, forward. Back, forward. Back, forward. Back, forward. And the idea is generate lots of momentum through your hips. We don't need to use our arms for anything other than to hold on to the kettlebell. But we're not raising the kettlebell with our arms. The idea is hips back, snap them forwards. When you stop in this core braced position, the momentum of the kettlebell is going to lift itself up. You don't have to do anything with your arms. When you stop straight and tall, your arms will keep going. And that's what we want. So the arms aren't actively lifting, they're just kind of along for the ride. The kettlebell is following the momentum that you can generate with your hips. There are two ways to get it started. One of them would be to just start from a dead hang and then start doing some swings. Start doing hips back, hips forward, hips back, hips forward. And then as you do that, you'll build into the regular swing momentum. That's version A. You do the same thing in reverse to slow down. The other way to do it is start with the kettlebell out in front of you on the floor. You can take a hip hinge forward, and then what you do is you just pick the kettlebell up, and then it wants to swing forward with the momentum of your backwards forwards hip swing. One thing that we want to think about is keeping the hands high. We want this to be hip hinge backwards forwards and not squat up and down. You can still get the kettlebell swinging with the squat, but then we lose a lot of that glute max driven hip extension idea that we're trying to get after with this kettlebell swing. So if we're watching from the front, my hands are always going to stay very high. So when I come back, my hands are always high up in my thighs. It's never coming down into my knee area. Always nice and high. The nice thing about that is it forces you to get your hips back out of the way so that you don't hit yourself with a kettlebell. Jen Sinkler has done a great description of kettlebell swings and this idea of the hands, and she says, keep your hands high up in your business. So you can think of it that way. Hands nice and high, get your hips out of the way, drive forward with a good butt squeeze. That's it. Now get after it.